Okay, welcome back to the Mental Toughness Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Siebold, and this episode is sponsored by the Mental Toughness University for entrepreneurs and success coaches. If you're someone that coaches people mental toughness, whether you're a sports coach or a business coach or any kind of coach, or you're an entrepreneur building a business, that can take a lot of mental toughness. I know all about that. You want to check out this program. If you go to SieboldNetwork.com, go to our online store, and you can sign up for this membership website, which teaches you basically all the things that we taught these corporations for 23 years that helped them increase sales collectively by $1.3 billion. So giving you all the same video training, all the stuff, it's great stuff. Okay, so on this episode, I want to talk about performing under pressure. All right. Now, this is a big topic, obviously. This is what most people in the public think about when they think about mental toughness. They think, well, you got to be mentally tough, when there's pressure. Well, that's true. And how is it that some people really perform well under pressure and others don't? Well, here's the fact. That's a misnomer. It's not true. Okay. If you put a human being under pressure, well, let me put it this way. The more pressure you put people under, the worse they do. Okay. Now, for some people, they don't perceive, or they develop the skill to not perceive things with so much pressure. But if you put pressure on people, the more pressure you put on them, the dumber we get and the worse we get in almost everything. But sometimes people learn the skill of focusing the pressure on concentrating on what they're supposed to do, the task at hand, and that type of thing. And that's why you see professional athletes, 3, 2, 1, boom, they hit the three-pointer and win the game. And that happens all the time, those kinds of things, because people have learned, these great athletes have learned how to process and think about pressure in a very different way than most of us do. So what's the secret to it? Well, the first secret is to let go of the result. Might sound counterintuitive, right? You think, well, how can I let go of the result? I want to win the competition. I want to build the business. I want to have the great relationship. I'm under pressure. I want the result. How can I let go? You've got to let go. You've got to learn to let go of it. You've got to learn to do the best you can and let the chips fall where they may. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying you don't care about the result. Of course, you care about it. But you've basically got to train yourself to let go of the attachment you have to the outcome. Easier said than done? Of course. Everything in mental toughness is easier said than done. It's easy for me to get on a podcast or write this in a book or say it on television, which I do all the time. Then it's a lot easier than actually doing it, of course. But that's the trick. That's how you train a great athlete. That's how I trained Olympic athletes to do it. That's how I train professional athletes to do it, amateur athletes to do it, and also business people. You're trying to get a contract and you got a presentation going and you're under pressure and you're thinking, this is the biggest presentation of my life. And if I goof it up, I might lose my job. I may not get the funding I need for my business. I may not move to the next level. Everything is on the line. The first thing you have to do is say to yourself, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to let go of the rest. Do your best, let go of the rest. It has to be done that way, because as soon as you let go of the attachment to the outcome, the pressure goes down. It's all perception. Pressure is just a perception, except outside of physical pressure, right? That's something different. We're talking about psychological pressure. It's all based on what you're thinking. It has nothing to do with reality. It has to do with perception. So in these situations where you really need to perform, the key is to let go. And one of the other things to do that really helps a lot is to sort of laugh at yourself a little bit, have a little fun in the pressure situation, thinking, oh, here I am, 2 outs, 9th inning, I'm the last at bat, I'm the last hope, the score is tied, or you're down a run or whatever it is, and this is your shot. This is your shot to be a hero. And it's really easy to get caught up in it. But if you make fun of it and to yourself and have a little fun with a little bit of humor, and you're talking to yourself, and you can do this with teammates as well, but you can talk to yourself and you can change your perception based on what you say to yourself during these pressure situations. Okay. And other people can do it with you if they're teammates. I'll give you an example, because obviously these pressure situations happen in multiple, mediums. So I was speaking, my first big speech was in Kansas City at Robartle Hall. July 17th, not that I remember the exact date, July 17th, 1998, 7,000 people. I'd never spoken to more than 300 people in my life. I was terrified. Bill Gove was my business partner, and the person introducing us was the great Bob Proctor, one of the greatest speakers of all time. So I've got the father of professional speaking. I'm speaking with him. He goes on for 12 minutes and brings me on. And I got Bob Proctor, one of the greatest speakers of all time, introducing us. So no pressure at all. And if I blow this, it's going to be a very big deal for our organization. So I was just pacing back and forth, flop sweat coming down my face. I'm the mental toughness guy. And I'm choking my brains out backstage because I'm thinking, I wasn't choking yet because I wasn't on stage, but I thought, what if I do? I mean, it's easy to choke. We'll talk all about choking in another episode. But after you're a competitive athlete, for many, many years, you realize that choking is just part of wanting to win so badly and not being able to move your mind off of your sort of your laser focus off of the outcome. And sometimes that results in just a breakdown of performance, which people call choking. But I was basically worried about choking. And so right before Bill Gove went on stage, he was just about to walk up these big set of stairs and then walk down another set of stairs on the stage. It was a beautiful stage. We pulled in backstage in a stretch limousine. It was like we were the Rolling Stones. It was amazing. And it was just a big event, crazy. And Bill Gove said, I got to go, kid. I got to get on there. In 12 minutes, you'll be on stage and your life will never be the same. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I blow this, I wasn't doing what I really needed to do to get myself in the right frame of mind. And I knew better as an athlete, but I was off the tennis court. I wasn't working with someone as a coach. It was me on a stage in a suit, which I was not used to at all back then. And so I was really, really nervous, as you can imagine. I mean, I was nervous to the point of, semi-panic, which is not a great place to be. And so Bill saw that, and Bill said, I got to go, kid. I got to get up there. I'm on in 30 seconds. But you got 12 minutes to wait, and then you're on stage. Your life will never be the same. Here's what I want you to think about, Steve. Okay, here's one thing. Here's my piece of advice for you. If you were ever going to screw up a speech, tonight would not be the night to do it. Okay, this is a big night for us. He laughed, and I broke down laughing. I did not see that coming. And he went up the stairs and went down the stairs, and I laughed literally for a good 5 minutes. I mean, it was just so funny. I just not see that coming. And I went on stage, and I did fine, and it was a big night, and it launched our entire organization. Our whole company launched that day. We hired employees after that. We opened an office after that. We had just got our business started and started back then. It was our first big speech. And as a company, and my first big speech ever, and it funded our whole organization, which became a multi-million-dollar company over time, and pretty amazing. But the point of it was he broke my tension. He broke the pressure with humor. And humor is one of the ways you can do it. You can do it with other people. You can do it with yourself. You can do it as a team if you play on a team. But the way you talk to yourself about pressure is so key. It's like money pressure. Ever been under money pressure? Oh my God, what if we can't pay the bills? What if we can't make payroll? What if we can't pay the mortgage? What if we can't pay the car payments? Oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? You got to stop yourself from catastrophizing and let yourself know that, hey, by the way you talk to yourself, to say, whatever happens, I've got the ability to land on my feet and deal with it. So if the car payment doesn't get made, we'll figure out a way to get it paid. And if the mortgage can't get paid, we'll figure out a way to get the mortgage paid. If the money doesn't come along for this, that, or the other thing, we will figure out a way to survive. We will survive. We won't go down. We will survive. Well, it may not be fun, but we're not going to die. Okay, we're going to make it through this thing. And you start talking to yourself in a very different way than most people do. And all of a sudden you think, okay, well, I don't want that to happen because it's going to be painful, but are we going to survive? Of course. And most likely you're going to come out better. People worry about money all the time, and I've done it too, and it's easy to do. And, when times get tight, the way you talk to yourself will make a huge difference. Matter of fact, I recommend a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr. Shad Helmstetter. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Dr. Shad Helmstetter. I've known Shad for many years. He's a psychiatrist, psychologist, phenomenal guy. Best book ever written on this topic. And you change the way you talk to yourself about pressure, about money, about success. And that's really the start. It's not the entire story, but it's the start on handling pressure onto the road of high performance and high pressure situations, whether it's a relationship or it's money or it's business or it's athletics. Makes no difference, really. Pressure is pressure. Perceived pressure is perceived pressure. Doesn't matter what you're applying it to. So the way you talk to yourself is a really big deal. Read that book, think about this, and start to implement it immediately. And we'll talk more about this in upcoming episodes, but I wanted to hit on this because it is a really big deal. So that's the end of this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.